welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hey girl, I'm Aryn. If you aren't new, thank you for coming back for another video. So y'all, my shirt though, I would stand up, but I don't have pants on. I do not have pants on, y'all, but basically it's a Boys in the Hood shirt. I don't know if you can see it, but I got it in the men's section at Target. I don't know if we're allowed to be shopping at Target, but I got it from Target. And it was actually on sale, and I thought it was so freaking cute. And I have been obsessed with how men's shirts fit me these days, because you know your girl is getting a little chunky. So men's shirts have been fitting really nice, and I don't know, I never really liked how women's shirts fit. I feel like it makes you look more lumpy and all that. So anywho, I'm feeling my shirt, but I just wanted to come on here and talk about 5 things that I've learned since I moved here to Atlanta. It's been like 8 months. I've been here about 8 months or so. So I've learned a few things, and I would like to continue to make these videos moving forward as I've been here longer, like once I hit a year and things like that, just in case someone is interested in moving to Atlanta or just another city or state from where they're used to. So yeah, also I wanted to do a quick little update on Frenchie, because I was gonna dedicate a whole video to it, but she hasn't changed that much. So hold on, let me get her. French! Okay guys, this is French. Say hi, French. Look how chunky she is, you guys. My girl has not missed no meals. Yeah, she's not gonna be decent for this video, clearly. She's such a busybody, but anywho. That's French. Not a ton has changed on her. She is gaining weight. She does have an appointment this month, so yeah, I'm gonna see how much she actually weighs. I think she's around 4 pounds now, but she is about to be 4 months old this month. So yeah, she's getting up there. Oh my god, my poor baby. But yes, she is doing really good, and she has to get her 2nd round of her kitten shots. And she also just needs a checkup because she hasn't seen a doctor since before she left the shelter. So it's time for her to get checked up again and make sure everything's good. I think she also has another round of her heartworm medication that she has to get. Yeah. So anywho, that's a Frenchie update. She's here. She's doing well. She's spoiled. That's my baby. But anywho, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. If you like a hodgepodge of information, y'all, I'll just be making videos as they come to me. I haven't been doing a great job recently, I know. But I'm trying to get back in the swing of things, slowly but surely. So without further ado, I'm just gonna get into the video. The first of my 5 things that I want to talk about is taxes. So everybody knows when you are working, you have certain taxes that come out of your pay. Every paycheck, it's just I don't know why, but you have federal taxes, state taxes, you have Social Security. So all these different things come out, and you can see them on your pay stub every month. So of course, the more money you make, the more taxes they take out. It's just the nature of the business or whatever. However, I noticed when I moved here that Georgia has much higher state taxes than we do in Ohio. So Ohio is a very affordable place to live. Even if you move to like a major metropolitan like Cleveland or Columbus or Cincinnati, it's still really affordable. However, here in Georgia, and especially Atlanta, it's very high to live here, so the taxes are up. And supposedly, state taxes are supposed to be used to repair roads and bridges and all that stuff. I ain't seen no bridges built, and I'm just kidding. I know that they work on bridges and all that stuff. However, they could use some of that money for potholes, like they're supposed to, because girl, I almost meet the center of the earth every time I drive around Atlanta. But that's what it's supposed to be used for. So it's very expensive, and I'm assuming the bigger the city, the more taxes you have to pay or whatever. So also sales taxes. I did notice that sales taxes are much higher down here in Atlanta as well. So when you're out shopping or making purchases or whatever, you just notice that things cost different. For example, I was looking at a new phone a while ago, and the tax to have it sent here to Atlanta is much higher by about $50 or $60 than it is to send it to an Ohio address. So just something to keep in mind moving forward. My second thing that I had on my list was the title ad valorem whatever tax. Basically, it's a tax. I think it's only here in Georgia. I don't know. Maybe it is in other cities, but I didn't hear of it until I moved to Georgia. That you have to pay to the state, and it goes, you have to go through the DMV because it's to get a title for your car. So whenever you move, you do need to get your car registered in the state that you live in. And in order to do that here in Georgia, you have to pay this giant freaking tax. Now, from my understanding, it depends on like your car and the year, and there's just certain things that kind of mix in with how much you have to pay individually for this tax, but it's hefty. For me, I have a 2018 Kia Optima, so with all the stuff that they put in there or whatever, my tax comes out to be around $1,100, which is why your girl is riding around with Ohio plates still, because it's very expensive. And although it is a one-time that you have to pay that lump sum, every year I believe you have to pay a certain amount just for tax. My dad has lived here. He's from here. He's pretty much been here his entire life. He couldn't explain to me what the heck the tax is for. I think it's just another tax just because they can, but it is something. Once you move, you do have to change your plates over and get everything registered to the correct state. So in order to do that, you have to pay that tax. So yeah, that's something that I have to look forward to doing here soon. Also, just in case you didn't know, since we're talking about cars and registrations, you're supposed to get your tags changed when you... Okay guys, sorry, my friend Ariel called me. Thank you, Ariel. But yeah, I was talking about tags. So when you move to Georgia, you're supposed to get your tags changed over within 90 days of you moving here. Obviously, with COVID and all that crap, there's a whole bunch of stuff that is, they're being a little bit more lenient on. However, at some point, you want to make sure that you get that changed over, especially since COVID won't last forever. So that if you get pulled over, you have your tags and your license and all that stuff. So it's very expensive to get all of this stuff taken care of, because that tax, that title ad valorem tax, it's separate from you having to get your registration. Getting your license, paying for the actual tags, all that stuff is separate. So that's just something to keep in mind. Next on my list of things to talk about is the job market. And I think this is depending on where you want to move to. I can only speak for Atlanta from Ohio, but I'll say during COVID, it's been extremely difficult to find employment during this pandemic and during this a recession, because that's what we're in. It's usually, Atlanta is a very booming place for employment. The economy is usually great here. Charlotte, there's a few other metropolitan areas where the economy is pretty great throughout the year. However, it completely flipped when COVID came. So back when I was recruiting, which we'll talk about later, our jobs were very plentiful. People were always hiring, looking for the next best talent for their organizations. However, now it's flipped. So back then, it was what we call a candidate-driven market, where candidates have more of a say-so of what they can be a little more picky about what jobs they want, and they have more wiggle room to negotiate salaries and things like that, because there's more jobs than there are people looking for jobs. Now it's an employer-driven market, so now employers can be picky about who they're hiring, because there's so many people in unemployment right now. It's probably as bad as it's been since the Great Depression, girl. It's a mess. So here in Atlanta, we took pretty much a pretty good hit, just because it's a metropolitan area. There's a lot of people did get sick. So because of that, unemployment is high, and the market for candidates is very competitive. So if you're thinking about moving right now, it would be my advice, depending on what you're going into. If you're in a very trying to get into a resistant proof market or something like that, like a production market or something like that, then it can be different. But depending on what you're going into, be just mindful about when you're moving, just because it can be very hard to find a job. And definitely never ever go anywhere without having a job. Do not move if you don't have a job. It just makes things way harder. But especially during a recession, it's extremely difficult. So since their employers can be very picky, one, because of all the people, but two, there's a lot of qualified people that are unemployed right now. So it's not just like anybody is out here without a job and, you know, it's just, you know, the guy Bob down the street. It's people from recent graduates from West Georgia, from the University of Georgia, from Georgia State, from Georgia Tech, from Clark Atlanta, Spelman, Morehouse, all these different schools where all these great candidates come out of. It makes it really challenging for someone who is younger, that has entry-level experience. So for me, for entry level, it's generally 0 to 3 or 4 years of experience. With that being said, everyone is kind of getting lumped into that if you don't have a lot of experience, depending, you know, before people would be like, employers would say, you know, we'll give them a chance even though they're young. Right now they can't afford to. So all those entry level people are kind of going against each other. So it's very challenging. That is part of the reason why your girl's been stressed. Your girl's been stressed because it's just a lot going on, and very competitive market, and it's a place where there's a lot of good people looking for jobs. So keep that in mind if you do plan on moving to a metropolitan city. Just check out jobs that you're looking for. What is the competition like? You know, what are your chances of getting a good position and, you know, being able to make it through the rest of this COVID craziness? All right, next one big thing that kind of leads into or comes off of what I was talking about before is recruiters. So before I was laid off, your girl was a recruiter. So I was what people can consider a headhunter, recruiter. It's the same thing for HR people. So I used to work in HR, actually HR. Then when I moved to Georgia, I transitioned into a recruiting role. So with that, I would find the people for the job that I used to do and hire up. So up to the big dogs of HR. So I would definitely recommend, depending on what your niche is and what you're going into, talk to a recruiter before you move somewhere. I wish that I would have done that. Because they can get you jobs that your chances of getting into would be very hard just because the competition is so high. So like, for example, here in Atlanta, the big companies that are headquartered here, some of them, you have Home Depot, Delta Airlines, Coca-Cola, NCR, I just lost my train of thought. There's a few more that everyone is trying to get into, especially recent college grads are trying to get their foot in the door there because they're great companies. So they have a better chance of getting you a position where you are, you know, able to get in front of a recruiter, in front of a hiring manager at these companies, because they're not in the application pool. They're not looking at the people who, all the 1,000 applications for an HR person at Delta. They can kind of wiggle you in, they can help you negotiate your salary, they can help you find a job that's exactly what you're looking for. So I would definitely recommend talking to a recruiter, have them do all of the recruiting for you and kind of putting your name out there and helping you get your resume out so that you're not lost in the pool of 8,000 bajillion other people that are trying to get a job in that area. So just keep that in mind. There's a lot of recruiting companies out there that you can reach out to. I will say that recruiters are bogged down a lot with people looking for jobs, especially right now. So just be respectful of that too and mindful of that, just because they get messages like that all the time and people sending their resumes all the time. So yeah, but if I could go back, I definitely would have reached out to a recruiter. I got lucky and I really liked the job that I was doing. However, I could have gotten a different opportunity going through the same company that I worked for as well. So just keep that in mind. Lastly, number 5, the number 5 thing that I wanted to talk about was making friends. And this is completely separate from like what I was talking about before, but I just thought of it as I was writing down my notes because it's a really big change it's been for me. I've realized that it's so much harder to meet people and find people and become friends with people when you move somewhere where you don't have all the different resources that you had before. So when I was in Ohio, obviously I went to college in Ohio, so I met a lot of people through college, and I didn't really have to worry about how I'm gonna make friends because everybody was kind of there. Now it's a lot more challenging, and especially with COVID, where you can't get out and kind of meet people and do all the stuff that you normally would do. It's even more challenging to make friends. So the past few months have been really hard for me just because I've been too scared to go outside. Your girl don't want no parts of COVID. So I just don't want to go in places. So it's really made me kind of close up even more just because you don't have the access to people like you used to. But you know, I would just make sure that you keep that in mind when you move somewhere, that it's completely different and you're coming out of your comfort zone. If you're super extroverted and you can make friends with a fly, then you might be a little different. But for me, I found it pretty challenging, more challenging than I would have thought, just because I'm not super introverted, but I'm pretty much in the middle. So I kind of don't lean either other way. So I never had to really give thought to meeting people, and now I have to make an extra effort to be nice and actually try and meet people, which eventually I will once COVID's over. But yes, just keep that in mind and make sure you're doing it safe whenever you're meeting people, because this isn't your stomping ground. I mean, I've been here many times because my family's here and things like that, but this is not where I grew up. I don't know people, the habits, things like that. So you also want to be very careful who you're meeting with, and you know, how you guys are meeting and all that jimmy jazz stuff. So those are my 5 things. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful for someone who is trying to move. Again, this is my kind of segment off of my moving to Georgia story time, things that I've learned since then. You guys seem to really have enjoyed that first video, so I'd love to just keep spreading knowledge and any information I can give about moving, because it was a struggle bus for me, girl. So if I can make your struggle bus a little better, I'll continue to do that and bring more content like this moving forward as time goes on and I live here for, you know, a year or 2 years or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I think that was it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, because you're already here. You already watched to this far. You might as well subscribe. And like this video on your way out. Leave me comments too. In my last video, I got comments, and I really like reading comments, and I like talking to people. You know, you feel real YouTubey or whatever. So leave me comments. And then also don't forget to turn your post notifications on. That way you know when I upload, because I've been very inconsistent, girl. I know, don't kill me. And I did say in my last video I was gonna get better, but your girl has been stressed, okay? Like, I've been trying to keep my head on. But yes, hopefully I'll have some good news for you guys here soon, and we can get back to normal life before I end up bald. So yeah, I'm done. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys on the next video. Bye.